Most people believe their biggest problem is that they do not have enough money. The truth is harder to hear. The real problem is almost never the money itself. It is the decisions made around it. Two people can earn the exact same paycheck. One ends the year deeper in debt and stressed out of their mind. The other ends it with savings, calm, and a plan. The difference between them is not income. It is a long chain of small choices, made quietly, day after day. Once you see money as a decision problem instead of a money problem, everything starts to change. So stick around, because this shift in thinking can rewire your entire financial life. Start with the question almost no one asks honestly. Where does your money actually go? Most people genuinely do not know. They feel like their paycheck simply vanishes, as if money has a mind of its own. But money does not disappear. It leaves through hundreds of tiny decisions that feel too small to matter in the moment. The $5 coffee. The subscription you forgot you had. The upgrade you did not need. None of these feel like a crisis on their own. Added up across a month, then a year, they quietly drain everything. The problem is not that these things cost too much. The problem is that each one was a decision made on autopilot, without you really choosing it. Part of the trap is that the world is built to make these choices for you. Stores, apps, and subscriptions are all designed to nudge you toward spending without thinking. One tap to buy. Saved card details. Free trials that quietly renew. Each of these strips away a tiny bit of friction, which sounds helpful but actually removes the pause where a real decision could happen. The fix is to put that friction back on purpose. Delete the saved cards. Unsubscribe from the tempting emails. Make the easy spending a little harder, and make the smart choices automatic instead. When your surroundings are set up to support good decisions, you stop leaning on willpower you may not have at the end of a long day. Now here is the part that stings a little. Why do smart people still make poor money choices? It is not because they are bad with numbers. It is because decisions made under stress, boredom, or emotion almost never serve your future. When you are tired, you order in. When you are sad, you shop. When you are anxious, you avoid looking at your bank account entirely. In each of those moments, you are not weighing options like a calculator. You are reaching for relief. The money leaves your account as a side effect of an emotional decision, not a financial one. That is why willpower alone rarely fixes anything. You cannot out-discipline a system built on stress. So what actually separates people who build wealth from people who stay stuck? Here is the surprising answer. It is rarely how much they make. Plenty of high earners are broke, and plenty of modest earners quietly build real security. The difference is that wealthy-minded people turn their good decisions into defaults, so they do not have to make them over and over. They set up their savings to happen automatically, before they ever see the money. They decide in advance what they will spend on, so the choice is already made when temptation shows up. They remove the decision from the heat of the moment and lock it in when their mind is calm. In other words, they design their choices instead of leaving them to chance. This leads to a powerful idea worth sitting with. What if you treated every dollar as a vote? Every time you spend, you are casting a vote for the kind of life you want. Spend on things that move you forward, and you vote for freedom. Spend on autopilot to soothe a bad mood, and you vote for the same cycle you are trying to escape. The goal is not to never enjoy your money. The goal is to make sure the votes are intentional. A coffee you genuinely savor and chose on purpose is completely different from one you grabbed without thinking for the 5th time this week. Same $5. Totally different decision. Here's where it gets practical. How do you actually fix a decision problem? You make fewer money decisions, not more. Every choice you have to make fresh is a chance to slip. So you shrink the number of choices by building simple rules you follow without debate. A rule like saving a fixed slice of every paycheck the day it arrives. A rule like waiting a full day before any purchase over a certain amount. A rule like keeping one card for needs and never touching credit for wants. Rules are not restrictions. They are decisions you make once, so you do not have to make them 1,000 times under pressure. Picture two co-workers who earn the exact same salary. One sets up an automatic transfer into savings every payday and barely thinks about it again. The other promises to save whatever is left at the end of the month, and somehow there is never anything left. Same income, same city, same bills. 5 years later, one has a cushion and the other has nothing. The gap was never the paycheck. It was a single decision one of them made automatic and the other left to chance. There is a reason these choices are so hard to get right in the moment. Your brain only carries so much decision-making energy in a day. By the evening, after 100 small choices at work and at home, you are running on empty. That is exactly when the takeout order, the impulse buy, and the late-night cart get you. You are not weak. You are out of fuel, and a tired brain reaches for the easy option every time. Now multiply that across years. A few unconscious choices a week, repeated for a decade, become tens of thousands of tiny votes for a life you never actually chose. The unsettling part is how invisible it feels while it happens. No single decision looks big enough to matter. The damage only shows up in the total, long after the choices were made. There is one more layer worth sitting with. Every decision you make also shapes who you become. Each time you choose the patient option over the easy one, you are not just saving a few dollars. You are training yourself into a person who decides well by default. Money handled wisely is really the visible proof of an invisible habit, the quiet skill of choosing your future over your impulse, one small moment at a time. This leads to the mindset shift that changes everything. Stop asking, how do I make more money? Start asking, what decision am I avoiding? Because more money rarely fixes a decision problem. People who get a raise and keep the same habits simply spend more and feel the same panic at a higher income. The leak follows them up the ladder. The uncomfortable truth is that the version of you who handles money well does not appear once you are rich. That version is built now, through the boring, unglamorous choices you make today, while the amount is still small. Fix the decisions, and the money follows. Wait for the money to fix the decisions, and you will be waiting forever. None of this requires a finance degree or a big income. It only asks for honesty about where your choices are really being made, and the patience to set a few of them in advance. Start with one automatic transfer, one waiting rule, one saved card deleted. Small as they seem, those single decisions quietly rewrite the script your money has been following for years. So the next time you feel that familiar money stress creeping in, do not ask the world for more. Ask yourself one quiet question. What am I really deciding right now? Your whole financial future is hiding inside the answer. If this changed how you see your money, hit that like button and subscribe to Cognitive Edge for more mindset shifts that actually stick. Drop a comment with the one money rule you are going to start today, and share this with someone who needs to hear it.